She is the co-host of this really fun storytelling show called Relationship. She's also been on Risk, and HuffPo named her one of the 20 funniest women on Twitter. Please welcome Lynn Bixenspan.
Do you guys remember, I feel like it happens in elementary school, but for me it was like around second grade when they start to talk to you about stranger danger. Stranger danger, like tell a trusted adult if anything happens. And it's before sex ed, so it's like a little confusing because they tell you like, watch out, a stranger, a grown-up might touch your area, right? And I was like, I don't get it. Like, why would a grown-up want to touch my area and get poop or pee on their hand? That's like a really grody grown-up, right? Like, what kind of grown-up would do that? And it wasn't until later that year, which is still second grade, when I stumbled on my parents' porn stash that I realized, like, what that area thing was about. Porn stash not meaning like a porn mustache, but like a collection of, I don't know why porn always comes in a stash for some reason. It's like when you have like apples in a bushel or like crows in a murder, it's just like a stash of porn. So yeah, I stumbled on this porn stash. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. Because I was like such a good kid, and my parents were like very neurotic. I know that's a shock, Jewish parents. I'm fulfilling a stereotype. And I was also like very vigilant that like I didn't want anybody to touch my area because, but I was like really confused about it to the point where like when my Nana was watching me one day, and my Nana is like the nicest, most Nana-esque woman of all time. She said something like, it's Lynn and Nana's secret kissy time. I was like, oh my God, she said secret. Oh my God, they said secret was bad and I should tell a trusted adult, but I don't want her to go to Nana jail. Nana jail is a fucked up place, you guys. They don't let you have like Precious Moments dolls or World's Greatest Nana mugs or anything like that. So I was like hyper vigilant for it, and then I kind of got it when I saw this porn stash, and I was like, I gotta show somebody, right? So I picked for some reason, like my most naive friend, and her name was Anne-Marie McInerney, and she had just moved from Ireland, so she was very, very Irish Catholic. And I know now that Irish Catholic like comes with a lot of guilt, so we have that in common, right, with them. But they're more into sex as sin, and I didn't really have that concept in my head. I knew that like bad touch was bad, but I didn't have sex as sin in my head. And so I showed her that, and she's freaking out. She's like, "Oh my God, we have to tell someone. I have to tell my mom." I'm like, "That's the last thing you need to do, dork." Like in my head. And then I didn't really think about it for a while until I was at Anne-Marie's house, like a few weeks later, which could have been like years in, a second grader's mind. And her mom calls me in to talk to her privately. And I feel like it's never a good thing when your friend's mom is like, we need to talk privately. Like, what could that be? She's just gonna be like, I like you better than my daughter. Like what is she gonna say to me? So I walk in, close the door, and her mom's name is Helen, and she's from Ireland, so she has an Irish accent, which I can't pull off very well, so I'll try. And she says, so Amber told me that you showed her the pictures of the naked ladies. She was very scared of the big boobies. And I tried to be like, I was innocent because I was in second grade, but I tried to be extra innocent, like, I don't know where those magazines came from. I had to, crawl up my parents' armoire to the top drawer where I found it, but I don't know how I found it. Isn't it crazy? And Helen says to me, like, so those are your parents' magazines? And I'm like, yeah, it's funny. I don't really get it. And then she says, so your dad makes you look at those magazines with him? And I was like, wait, what? No, that's not what? So, like, she has some real fucked up stuff, maybe religious, in her head that was not happening at all. And so I start crying because I'm just freaking out. And I'm like, oh, my God, like, I don't want my dad to go to sex jail, which is even worse than Nana jail. Yeah, no, it is. It's worse than Nana jail. It's like the Rikers Island compared to Nana jail. Like, I was freaking out. I was like, oh, my God, my dad's going to jail. It's going to be all my fault. And so I'm, like, crying. And she takes the crying as, like, yep, I got it right. And she, like, takes me in her arms. And she's like, it's okay. He's not going to hurt you ever again. I was like, you're hurting me, what? And then, so she's like, okay, well, when your mom gets here, we're going to tell her. And I'm like, So I wait, looking out the window from my mom's car for like our Dodge station wagon, and Helen's in the other room for some reason, and I'm just looking out like, okay, maybe I can head my mom off at the pass, and this conversation will never happen ever. Like that's how it works in a second grader's head. Like if I leave, like somehow they're never going to talk again. Phones don't exist. Just living in the moment. And I'm like, okay, as soon as my mom walks in, I'm just going to be like, I have a stomachache and I threw up. We have to leave immediately. So I tried that, and when my mom walks in, she was like, well, actually, Helen said she wanted to talk to you. I'm like, actually, she told me that she actually doesn't ever want to talk to you again at any point, and maybe to just never contact her again. I don't know why. She just said that. She's like, I don't think so. So I'm defeated. Sit down on the couch. My mom walks into the room. They close the door. And about 48 hours later, because I'm waiting there for what feels like forever, my mom comes out. Her face is like drawn. She's like, let's get out of here. And she had a look on her face like I've never seen before. So we are in the car, and I'm just silent. And my mom says, that was the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I felt like, oh my God, that's my fault. And we never talked about it again until I was getting ready to tell this story on the Risk podcast. And I was like thinking that I didn't want to use a fake name, and so I wanted to talk to my parents about it before it came, before they heard it. So I talked to my mom, and she was like, what are you talking about? We definitely talked about that. And I was like, I have no memory of that. So yeah, it's just a weird thing how sometimes, especially childhood memories, right? Like you have no idea, like one person is thinking like, that it was completely resolved, and the other person's like, this has been torturing me. I've been in therapy for 25 years about it. And that's also, I don't know how much of that is weird religious stuff about her mom and the difference between that. But I do think that, like, in my head, maybe that I hadn't, like, quite forgiven my mom for not, because I thought, like, like the people who did it to me, like her mom, clearly crazy and not close to me, right? I didn't feel like I needed to forgive them, but I felt like my mom should have done something more. And then I was only able to, like, forgive her by talking to her about it, like, 20 years later. So I don't know. I feel like I should have some great moral at the end, like, and that's why you should talk to people and not be mad at them. But instead, I'm just going to say that's why you probably shouldn't show an 8-year-old Irish Catholic little girl who had just moved from Ireland pictures from Club Magazine. Thank you. Have a good holiday. I'm Lynn Bixenspan.
All right. So we're going to do a little Yiddish quiz.